China, 210 BC. The imperial carriage moves through the country. Thousands bow as it passes. Inside, a rotting corpse surrounded by fish to cover the smell. The emperor has been gone for 2 weeks, but nobody can know. Because without him, the empire collapses. One man held all of it together, a man who changed his bedroom every night out of fear, and still unified China and built the Great Wall. This is how China's first emperor actually lived. The year is 221 BC. For the first time in 500 years of war, China is one country. 7 kingdoms that spent generations tearing each other apart have been brought under a single ruler by force, strategy, and a level of political will that the ancient world had never seen concentrated in a single person. The man who did this is 38 years old. His name is Ying Zheng, but he will not use that name much longer. He is already designing something new, a title that has never existed before, because no situation like this has ever existed before. He settles on Qin Shi Huang, first emperor, and from this moment, in the newly unified capital of Xianyang, he begins building a world that will reshape China for the next 2,000 years. The roads that will connect every corner of the empire. The standardized weights and measures that will allow trade across regions that previously spoke different languages and used different currencies. The writing system that will become the foundation of Chinese script to this day. The Great Wall, extended and reinforced along the northern border to hold back the nomadic Xiongnu people who have raided Chinese settlements for generations. All of this in 11 years. But before we talk about what he built, we need to understand what it actually felt like to be him. Because the gap between what Qin Shi Huang achieved and what Qin Shi Huang experienced every single day is one of the most extraordinary contradictions in the history of power. The day begins before sunrise. It always does. The emperor rises in a room that was chosen for him the night before by a small circle of trusted advisors, chosen specifically because nobody outside that circle knows which of the 270 palaces connected by covered walkways across the capital he will sleep in. This is not a quirk or a preference. It is a survival strategy. 2 serious attempts have already been made on his life. One involved a musician concealing a lead-weighted lute string intended as a garrote. Another involved a trained assassin who got close enough that the emperor had to flee behind a pillar while his guards caught up. After the second attempt, he redesigned his entire existence around the assumption that someone in his court, his staff, or his family wants him gone. The covered walkways between palaces exist, so he can move through his own capital without anyone outside seeing which direction he is traveling. Guards who learn his location are sworn to silence under penalty of execution. On one occasion, a guard revealed the emperor's whereabouts accidentally. Everyone present at the conversation was executed, not the guard, everyone present. This is the atmosphere in which he begins every day. The morning ritual starts with documents. Qin Shi Huang has imposed on himself a daily quota of administrative work, 120 pounds of bamboo strips, the medium on which government documents were written. This is not symbolic. It is the actual weight of paperwork he processes each day before he considers his work done. The empire he has created requires this. He has abolished the old feudal system in which local lords governed their territories as they saw fit, and replaced it with a centralized bureaucracy of appointed officials who report upward through layers of administration to the imperial court. Every decision of significance flows to him. He has designed a system that cannot function without him at the center, and then he has made himself responsible for being that center, every day, without exception. Food arrives under strict protocol. The food tasters eat first. They eat from every dish in front of the serving officials and wait. The emperor watches. Only when sufficient time has passed without incident does he eat. The food itself is elaborate. The imperial kitchen employs hundreds of staff and produces meals of genuine sophistication, drawing on ingredients from across the empire. But the emperor does not eat for pleasure. He eats quickly, efficiently, with the attention of a man who is already thinking about the next item on the administrative schedule. Contemporaries note that he rarely lingered over meals. By mid-morning, he is in audience. The court of Qin Shi Huang is not a place of ease. The administrative system he has built runs on legalist principles, the philosophy that human behavior is best governed not by moral education, but by clear laws, strict enforcement, and rewards and punishments applied consistently regardless of rank. In practice, this means that officials who fail to meet their targets face consequences, and officials who succeed are rewarded. And the entire machinery of government operates under a level of scrutiny that keeps every person in the system in a state of careful attention. The emperor himself embodies this system. He is not cruel for the sake of cruelty. He is precise. When punishments are ordered, they follow from the law. When rewards are given, they follow from merit. The consistency is itself a form of power. Nobody in the court can predict safety through personal connection or family status. The only reliable path is performance. In the afternoon, construction reports. Qin Shi Huang is the greatest builder in Chinese history, and he knows it. The Great Wall project alone employs hundreds of thousands of workers, soldiers, conscripted farmers, convicts, along the northern frontier. The construction of his tomb, begun when he took the throne at the age of 13 and ongoing throughout his reign, employs a workforce of similar scale. The 8,000 terracotta soldiers being created to guard him in the afterlife represent only a fraction of the total project. The tomb complex covers an area larger than many cities, with underground palaces, rivers of mercury representing the waterways of China, and traps designed to protect the burial site from intrusion for eternity. He reviews these reports with the same attention he gives to military dispatches and tax collection figures. The tomb is not a vanity project, it is theology. Qin Shi Huang believes, or needs to believe, that what he has built in this life can be carried into the next one. The weight of what he has accomplished, and the terror of losing it, drives an obsession with permanence that shapes every major decision of his reign. Which brings us to the Mercury. In the later years of his reign, Qin Shi Huang becomes consumed by the search for immortality. This is not unusual for powerful rulers of the ancient world. The belief that exceptional people might transcend ordinary human limits was widespread. But his pursuit is systematic and increasingly desperate. He sends a fleet of ships east across the ocean in search of mythical islands where immortals are said to live. The fleet does not return. He summons alchemists from across the empire to his court and commissions the production of elixirs that will extend his life indefinitely. The alchemists produce pills and potions containing mercury, arsenic, and other compounds they believe carry life-extending properties. The emperor consumes them regularly. His physicians, working within a medical framework that has no concept of chemical toxicity as a category, observe no connection between the treatments and the symptoms that begin appearing in his later years. The mood swings, the paranoia, the physical deterioration. The connection between mercury consumption and neurological damage would not be understood for another 2,000 years. He is, in the most literal sense, being slowly poisoned by his own search for immortality. By evening, military intelligence. The Xiongnu on the northern frontier remain a persistent threat. The Hunanese territories in the south require ongoing pacification. The remnants of the old kingdoms, their noble families, their loyalists, their scholars who quietly preserve the books he has ordered burned, represent a different kind of threat, slower and more diffuse, but no less real. The burning of books is itself a symptom of how he thinks about power. Knowledge that contradicts or competes with his system is not debated, it is eliminated. Scholars who insist on referencing the old ways of governing are not persuaded, they are buried. The historical record describes 460 Confucian scholars executed in a single purge. Whether this number is exact or representative of something real, the pattern it describes is consistent with everything else we know about how he governed. Consolidation was total, competition was not tolerated. As night approaches, the question of where he will sleep is resolved by his inner circle in secret. The covered walkway is checked, the guards are positioned. The room is prepared by staff who will not leave the palace compound tonight. The emperor moves through corridors that have been cleared of all but essential personnel, along a route that was not announced in advance and will not be discussed afterward. He lies down in a room that no one outside his immediate circle knows he is in a palace that is one of 270 he cycles through, in a capital city that he rebuilt from the ground up according to his vision of what the center of the world should look like. Outside the palace walls, China is transforming. Roads are being built, canals are being dug, weights and measures are being standardized. The written language is being unified. Trade is moving across distances that would have been impossible under the old fragmented system. People who previously lived and worked and traded within the boundaries of one of 7 kingdoms are beginning, slowly and incompletely, to think of themselves as part of something larger. He will not live to see how far this goes. He passes in 210 BC on his 5th tour of the empire, far from the capital. He is 49 years old. The Mercury has done its work. His advisors seal the carriage, surround it with fish, and begin the journey back to Xianyang. 3 weeks across, a country that does not yet know it has lost the only person who fully understood how to hold it together. The Qin Dynasty will last only 4 more years after his passing, before collapsing under the weight of the system he built and the resentments it generated. But the structure he created, the centralized state, the unified writing system, the bureaucratic administration, the concept of China as a single political entity, will survive him by more than 2,000 years. He changed his bedroom every night out of fear. He built the greatest wall on Earth. He unified a civilization of 60 million people. He spent his final years drinking mercury in search of eternal life. This is how China's first emperor actually lived. Thanks for watching. If this journey through the life of Qin Shi Huang gave you something new to think about, hit the like button and subscribe. We bring history to life as it actually was. The power, the fear, and everything in between. We will see you in the next one.